Hello everybody, this is Dan, and I felt like doing a little video today talking about factual versus supernatural. Okay, maybe let's stick with natural versus supernatural. Well, except we're ready, like I'm just gonna assert ready ahead of time that intelligent design is false on itself. We're not gonna care much about intelligent design in terms of what exactly it means to us, considering it's already false. Considering I can easily prove it, logically it's false. And if you need a truth table, I can show you sometime if you have a problem. Okay? Okay. Now, I just want to bring this to an even closer little point, just based on the consequences of what we've seen from the past, involving concepts like creationism and other concepts that out there that just were all based on faith versus evidence. Okay. We all know by facts that we're pattern-seeking animals here. We're apes. So what? Okay. So what we can do here is we got to assert the idea that why do we need to know things versus why we need to believe in things? If we want to believe in something, fine. Humans are very prone to believing in the really crazy things if you think about it. Look at every religion out there. Although some are kind of cool, but they're quite dangerous to us in general. If you ever want to do a cool video on why religion is dangerous and quite could kill us all, feel free to comment and tell me, okay? Okay. But in general, why do we need to know things? Because we're pattern-seeking animals. We already know that. Because logically, we can see it in our neurological systems by evidence. Because we can actually observe these patterns, and in fact, you can actually just see it just in general. And based on psychological and neuroscience evidence. And a good example is religions in general are an example of a primitive thinking that is quite dangerous to us all these days based on its fact that it's based on faith versus actual thinking for yourself. Which I think is really important. Because we gotta really start thinking for ourselves for once. But in general, why do we need to impose the supernatural? That's the key of this. Why do we need to say something that is outside of our level of reasoning? That is the good question. But the thing is, if we already know something, why do you need to make something up? It's because you don't know something. And why do you not know something? Because some people just prefer not to learn these things because they're lazy. No offense to some people. I know there's some people out here that are very smart people that just don't go to university or things like that. And they tend to look things up for themselves. But there's some people out there that just literally will assert things based on just hearing things from people, by authority figures, and other things like that. Like, for example, I don't know, I would give the old Venom Fang X, or even the new Venom Fang X, as a good example of a person who doesn't like to listen and learn things. They perfectly assert things based on their own conceptual thoughts versus, or authority figures like Ken Hovind, this way. I'll put the link up there you can actually look up there, they'll actually tell you evolution is a lie, and that the geological column is all false, and they totally use this evidence and could misconstrue it and actually use it to show creationism stuff, which is totally false. Which is kind of dangerous if you think about it, considering they're using complete belief systems here. But this makes you think, why do we need the supernatural? Considering the fact that the natural world is where we are. And we don't have any evidence to show that the supernatural even exists. And there's definitely things that we don't know. But there are definitely things that we do know, and we better just leave it to science or other systems like historical and other forms of evidence. Well, usually I'll just stick to scientific, because that's usually our foundation, which just lays itself on top of formal systems, mathematics, computer science, which is all formal sciences, versus the empirical ones, the ones that we can touch and feel things, like evolution. That's an empirical science. It's experimental, and I can actually see things. But the thing is, why do we need supernatural versus natural? Supernatural doesn't exist to our knowledge, so we can't really do anything with the supernatural. And I hate these theologians out here that love to impose the idea that the supernatural exists, or is even something that we can debate about. Kid with a captain, I swear. Okay. Like, I don't want to offend any theologians out there, sorry. Okay. If you want to say something, think about it for once. Instead of saying, okay, why is this true? Okay, true is not a good word. Let's use valid. And I don't like using the word true, considering the fact we can't prove anything is true in the first place, due to Gödel's work and Turing's work, and upon others like Chaitin, that formal systems are just, like, they're not failures, but they just, many things we just can't show that are true. Like, for example, arithmetic doesn't work at all, considering the fact that you can define 1 to be 3, and you can show 1 plus 1 equals 6. And therefore, arithmetic fails to be true. So it only works within its transitive forms and number systems that it's defined in. You gotta think for yourself. That's the important thing. And you gotta look up things for yourself. Because I've encountered many religious people, for instance, that think miracles exist. There's always the literal, like, I mean, metaphorical miracle, like, oh, this was so cool, like, it was like a miracle. That's fine. But I'm talking about, like, people thinking, oh, like, this guy grew a limb. Or they think, oh, this guy cured his leg because we prayed for him and God did it. God did it answers nothing, I'm sorry. But it's in general, we can't accept that. Because there's no evidence to show it. And why the heck do you have to believe it if there's no evidence for it? I definitely love people to think for themselves, but the thing is, if yourself is contradicting the exact facts that you're trying to present, what the heck are you thinking? I would stick to what you know and what you can think about. Because there's always the wonder of why. Why things happen. Why, for example, why the universe happened. Who knows that? That's not a good question to ask. For example, if I ask, does God exist? God exists is not really a good question to ask, but it's a worthy question to ask, but the thing is, it doesn't really have any progress to us. Unless, okay, maybe it does have some progress consequences, like maybe it might give it a religion, which is a good thing, but the thing is, if we have the concepts of answering the right questions and doing the right things for ourselves and being happy and, you know, just having a happy life. In general, we gotta think about these things, because one step to another, we're going to kill ourselves, all ourselves, just because we believed in funny things. Humans believe in funny things. I can't change that. But you just gotta help yourself and think, what if, and listen to other people. Like, if there's not in an authoritative fashion, but listen to the evidence. Evidence and understanding of things. For example, if you don't understand calculus, for instance, just don't say calculus is useless. Calculus is very useful to us all. Like, I'm going to be perfectly honest here. As much as I think calculus is easy, but it's very useful to us all. But the thing is, you've got to understand things before you make really big conclusions about them. The key is, if you don't understand something, try to understand something for once, and actually try to make some basis and premises properly and make a good conclusion. It's basic logic here. Like, I definitely know people are logical, but the thing is, you gotta try thinking a little bit for yourself. I definitely know there's some people that are closed-minded completely and won't actually conceive these things for themselves. Like, for example, some creationists and some very religious people will use beliefs instead of knowledge and make themselves look very stupid and do quite ridiculous things to block the progress of mankind. But the thing is, you just got to think for yourself. That's my main message here today. Is think for yourself. Try to think skeptically about things, but don't let it so that your brain falls out of your skull. Okay? That's the key here today. Other than that, thank you for watching and have a beautiful day.